Got the list, everybody. We got the list. Came in not 30 seconds after I ended the last live stream. I had to take a look at it myself before I came back on here and got live again. But jump on in here. We're going to read through the letter. I'm going to show it for you guys all to see yourselves. Then we're going to switch over to the list itself so you guys can see what we are talking about. So for those of you who watched our previous video, here is the list of Matt Huffman's candidates that he sent to Alex Triantafilou, the GOP party chairman, and asked for him to get the State Central Committee to endorse as a slate in tomorrow's elections at the State Central Committee meeting. So here we go. We're going to pop it up. I'm going to read this letter to you first and foremost. I hope it's big enough for all of you to see. I don't really know a way to blow it up any bigger for you, but I'm going to read it for you. It's dated to February 6th. Okay, so this has been several weeks in the making where he has been trying to overtly subvert the will of local GOP parties throughout the entire state of Ohio. And I'm going to read this for you right now. Dated February 6th, addressed to Alex Triantafilou, chairman, Ohio Republican Party, and regarding recommended Republican endorsement list for 2026 Ohio House candidates. Dear Chairman Triantafilou. Now, when you're the chairman, these people are all part of the same system. He says, Dear Chairman Triantafilou, enclosed with this letter is the list of Republican Ohio House members and candidates who we are respectfully asking the Ohio Republican Party to endorse for the 2026 primary, such a slap in the face, and general elections. I appreciate the committee's consideration, and we look forward to working with you to maintain and strengthen our historic Republican majority in the Ohio House. If you have any questions about my requests, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Matt Huffman, Speaker, Ohio House of Representatives, career politician, in bed with Les Wexner, on the campaign dole for every special interest group you can think of, Ohio House of Representatives. That's Matt Huffman. That last paragraph, he says, I appreciate the committee's consideration, and we look forward to working with you to maintain and strengthen our historic Republican majority. What he should have said there was, working with you to maintain and strengthen my political power in the Republican majority in the Ohio House of Representatives. And with that, I'm going to quickly move to the candidate list itself so you guys can see this. And again, I hope it's big enough for you guys to see. You might have to do that number with your phones. But at the top, and I don't think I can adjust that up enough to see the whole list. So what you have are incumbents listed at the top who do not face primary challengers. And then you have incumbents with primary opponents that they're recommending for endorsement. Then you have non-incumbents with no primary opponents, in other words, open primaries. And then you have non-incumbents with primary opponents. And that's really such a slap in the face. But let's get into the incumbents. These are people, current Ohio House representatives who are running for re-election that now have primary opponents. Starting with House District number 12, the old House District of Representative Ron Hood, Brian Stewart. This is a guy who has a primary challenger, and this is This is Matt Daddy Huffman coming to his aid. You have Representative Rodney Creech. This one doesn't make much sense to me because Creech was stripped of his campaign committee assignments earlier in this year, but he is a sponsor now on our SEPA bill. You have Brian Lorenz, who's running House District 60, Representative Gene Schmidt, Representative Brian Lampton, Representative Gary Click. Okay, quite a few of these people are on board with our SEPA bill. I think Rodney Creech is, Brian Lorenz is, Gene Schmidt was a joint sponsor of it before. Gary Click has been giving us some grief, but we're working with him on getting his support for the bill. The jury's still out on that one. Let's go into non-incumbents with no primary opponents for endorse. Now, let's skip that one. That one's kind of boring. Let's get down into non-incumbents with primary opponents. And this one in particular is exactly where you want to lean heavily on the local GOP to know what's best for a district and to have their endorsement be the one that follow the Republican candidate throughout the process. All right. So you've got in House District 31, Mike Cahoe. I'm just going to highlight the ones that are particularly notable. You've got Christina Hagan. She's a former member of the Ohio House. I think she was one of the sponsors of the heartbeat bill. She had a pair of twins, I believe, when she was in the House last. She's looking to get back in. That's a family that's been involved in politics for a long time. Senator Andy Brenner. Senator Andy Brenner has been in office for a very long time. He's currently in the Senate. And what he's trying to do there is he's trying to do what Matt Huffman did, serve out his 8 terms in the Senate and then immediately move over into the House because term limits, So Andy Brenner has been handpicked by Speaker Huffman for this race. He's running up against another candidate who has already filled out our candidate survey 100%, Sean Stevens. So that's interesting. Former Rep Jeff McClain, Patty Rocky, Sean Hudson. But one thing we need to go back to is incumbents with primary opponents. And I think this is probably the biggest takeaway in what's going on here tonight. One incumbent in the Ohio House of Representatives that is not listed here. You can see they have this incumbent protection program for most incumbents who are in a primary. But one person who is not listed on this list is current Representative Ron Ferguson. Now, this is a race that Ohio Gun Owners is paying very close attention to because on the one hand, you've got Ron Ferguson, who's been a co-sponsor or joint sponsor on every single gun bill that Ohio Gun Owners has put forward in the last several years. You've got in Ron Ferguson, you've got somebody who is willing to use procedural rules to try to force leadership to consider bills that they are using the committee process to stop. And by doing that, by standing up in those moments, it's very clear that that it's one of those instances where you instantly get the hatred of the political establishment, and particularly Speaker Huffman, because here's a guy, Ron Ferguson, who's willing to use the House rules that have been passed by everybody to try to force legislation to be considered by the House. Honestly, I think almost every bill should be considered unless it's that left-wing degenerate crap. Nah, screw that. But you got good conservative policy that's stuck in kill committees like Speaker Huffman's doing right now with the gun bills, the House Bill 382, 495, and 498. People like Ron Ferguson, who are very rare, are willing to use procedural rules to try to force legislation to consideration. Ron has done that for us in the past, and now, as an incumbent, he is absolutely being opposed by the Speaker right here because he's not endorsed as an incumbent. Let me read through here. There's some other names I was curious about. Oh, yeah, that's Rich. Speaker Huffman is asking for the Ohio State Central Committee to endorse himself for re-election. It's very selfless of him. But this is what's going on. In these primaries, it should be left up to the people in those districts to decide. But this is Speaker Huffman coming in and saying, well, if you guys endorse these people, we're going to put the full weight and force of the Ohio Republican Party behind them at the state level, and the interests of the local party be damned. Or even if the local party has endorsed some of these candidates, I'm sure some of them have, this is them getting access to everything from Huffman's leadership pack on down. So the whole process is such a slap in the face to the average Republican who lives in these districts. Most Republican voters who vote every 2 years or every 4 years, they have no idea that their state representative from their district wasn't actually really picked by the district. It was a candidate that promised fealty and loyalty to the speaker, and that choice was made for them. This is a corrupt system. But I wanted you guys to see this so you guys can get on the horn tonight. Start messaging your state central committee members and saying, don't you freaking dare issue a slate endorsement for Speaker Huffman's handpicked candidates. These candidates need to go out and win the support of their local districts. They need to win their local elections. They need to convince their fellow voters that they are the one to represent them in Columbus. It should not be this degenerate, deliberate move to consolidate power around one man. And that's exactly what Speaker Huffman is doing here. So we are going to talk about this a lot more tomorrow. But for tonight, we don't need to sit here and talk about this anymore. We need to get busy and get on the phone with your state representative or your state central committee members and tell them to vote no on this motion to endorse, to oppose it in every way, shape, and form, and say that it's a total slap in the face of the districts that are entitled to elect these people freely and fairly. And that's ultimately what this is all about. So folks, please share this video with everybody you know. Tag your friends in the comment section.